Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for the afternoon session for February the 10th, 2020. Do we have any late items for the agenda?
There's none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Could I have someone bring forward the approval of the agenda? Councillor Holmes, Councillor Van Elfen, all in favor? Good. And we will start this afternoon with some recognition to 3 lifeguards at our aquatic center. Lori.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This presentation is to recognize the efforts of the Summerland Aquatic and Fitness Center lifeguards. On January 31st, a major first aid incident took place in the building. The lifeguards attended a fitness class patron who was not feeling well. While monitoring vitals, the patron slid from dizzy to unconscious and then to no pulse. The lifeguards immediately performed CPR and the patron regained consciousness prior to the AED being administered. The lifeguards continued to care for the patron until the ambulance arrived and the patron was taken to the hospital. We were later informed that the patron had a blood clot near her heart and the CPR compressions released it. The patron is now at home recovering and is looking forward to returning to the fitness program. The role of a lifeguard carries great responsibility. There are ongoing recertifications, in-service training, and simulations that the staff participate in to provide the knowledge to conduct a first aid response. Going through a major first aid like this one is never easy. The quick actions of our lifeguarding staff in this incident saved a life. The District of Summerland would like to recognize Asia Curley, Michaela McDougall, and Anna Locke for their heroic efforts. These lifeguards demonstrated incredible teamwork and performed a textbook response to this major first aid. They were extremely competent and professional throughout this very stressful incident. The pool was full of children attending a school swimming session. There was a fitness class taking place, and the fitness room was full of patrons. The lifeguards, together with the recreation staff, secured the entire building and were commended by those in attendance for managing this emergency so well. While performing first aid is a core job responsibility of a lifeguard, the exemplary work of Asia, Michaela, and Anna on this day is recognized and is greatly appreciated. The District of Summerland is grateful for all the hard work of the entire aquatics team for their ongoing attention and care for the Aquatic and Fitness Center patrons. I am very proud to work with this incredible team of individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I would like to call up Michaela and Anna and Aisha. Just a small token of the district and the community of Summerland's appreciation for their hard work. And I apologize, I don't know who is who. Dear Michaela, oh, that's the one that. So this is a letter thanking you for your efforts and a plaque from the District of Summerland. I'm sure that the patron at the pool will never forget the work that we did. Thank you.
Want to get a picture?
Yes.
Everyone together?
Such a mommy's Future lifeguard, maybe.
Counselor.
Yeah, or that. You're fine.
I thought I might have some candy in here to bribe them.
That usually works, eh?
Thank you. What a great way to start our council meeting. Now's the opportunity for public comment, a maximum of 15 minutes during our session today. Please introduce yourself as you come, once you've reached the podium, and we'll ask you to keep your comments to 2 minutes. You are invited to comment on any of the things that are on the monitor there.
Thank you, Mayor Boot. I think I'm on that list. My name is Henry Seelman. I live at 110-14-395 Heron Road in Summerland. I'd like to say a few words in support of the staff recommendation presented as item 6.4 of the agenda, infrastructure grant application. 4 years ago, I chaired a meeting attended by a number of local government officials and trail advocates. At the time, I was the president of the Trail of the Okanagan Society. The purpose of the meeting was to collect stakeholder views regarding the development of a cycling pathway connecting Summerland and Penticton. The meeting was attended by the mayors and councils of both communities, Councillor Trainer being one of them, Emily Dan Ashton, representatives of the Penticton Indian Band, the RDOS, MOTI, and the Thompson Okanagan Tourist Association. Following this meeting, a study was commissioned to determine the design options and cost estimates for extending the Highway 97 cycling lane from Summerland Lower Town all the way to Penticton. As most of you know, this cost estimate was released last year, far exceeding any earlier estimates. During and after the stakeholder meeting, a number of participants declared that they would support the development of a cycling trail across the POB Reserve, connecting the Summerland Trestle Bridge with the Channel Pathway. Those in favor of this route included the POB, the RDOS, and TOTA. I'm convinced that this trail will be built sometime in the future. It will be extremely popular and bring many local and visiting tourists to our community. I think it is important that we build the infrastructure necessary to welcome these visitors. It is equally important that we guide them to our downtown. The proposed construction of cycling lanes along Giants Head Road to the Trestle Bridge will help meet this goal. If I can ask you to refer to these colorful maps in front of you. The construction of cycling lanes along Prairie Valley Road, Doherty and Bathville will allow cyclists to safely reach the KVSR station, from where they can return along the KVR trail, or one day perhaps may be able to load their bikes on the train for a ride back to the Trestle Bridge. So if you compare on this map the orange route, this is where currently the Trans-Canada Trail and the connection through our town is mapped out for cyclists and hikers. It totally bypasses our downtown area. If you look at the yellow line, this follows to some extent those improvements shown in the attachment. And as you can see, that is probably a preferred cycling corridor that brings people to our downtown. I just want to bring this to your attention. I think it's sustainable, profitable, and three-season tourism at its best. Summerland is ideally positioned to become a favorite stopping point along the valley-wide cycling pathway that one day will connect Osoyoos with Sycamores. Let's make sure that we take advantage of each and every opportunity to get ready to welcome people to our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you. I don't see anybody else in the gallery that would care to comment. Well, maybe Angelique would, but... So we will move on to our business items, beginning with 6.1, FCM ICLEI Partners for Climate Protection Program, a milestone recognition. And Tammy, I think you're speaking to this? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm here for a quick good news update to let Council know that the district has formally received Milestone 1 recognition for FCM's Partners for Climate Protection Program. And it comes with this lovely trophy here, this lovely award, so we'll pass that around. It's 2 pieces, and it's a puzzle that with each new milestone will receive another puzzle piece. And I understand it's made out of sustainably harvested wood, so kind of neat. So we'll be displaying that downstairs along with other awards, and it'll be there. We're also going to put something in the newsletter about it. So as Council may recall, in 2017, Council did ask us to embark on this journey to go through the 5 milestone program, and we've been diligently working since to achieve that. So we expect to receive milestones 2 and 3 within 2020, and milestones 4 and 5 early in 2021. So I wanted to share that formal recognition with you and give you an update of the progress to date. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments of council? Well,
Good job.
sorry?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Good job.
I was asking Karen about this, looks kind of like an unfinished trophy last week, and we had a few giggles over it. But now I completely understand, and I think it's brilliant how you get another piece of the puzzle as you reach the other milestones. So, so congratulations. Tammy mentioned the partnership between FCM and ICLEI. ICLEI is also the one of the partners that hosted the Livable Cities Forum in October, and which kind of segues very nicely into, oh, sorry, we have to do a, thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry, we need to receive this for information. I overlooked that. Tammy's report. Councillor Van Elfen and Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. So this goes nicely into the Victoria call to action that is before you, and it's the next item on the agenda. I think probably everyone has had the chance to read the background on this. Basically what it is a call to action that elected officials at the forum got started on before the forum actually started, and then we reviewed that and made some revisions to it. It talks about certainly the thriving and resilient communities, but if you look on the reverse side, it talks about addressing the climate challenge and what we call on ourselves and other locally elected officials to do in terms of making sure that when we're looking at climate action, recognizing that there are marginalized groups within our societies that are the largest groups. They experience the heaviest impacts of climate change. So there's 6 different items there. I'm not going to read them off. And as somebody that was part of drafting this, I said that I would bring it forward to council to see if we had support from the entire council to work towards this call to action, and that we consider this as we continue to work on climate action, which goes beyond just talking about it. So unless there are questions, I would appreciate someone bringing forward that. Yeah, question.
Where does this go now from here? Like, we accept it or we support it, and then does it sit somewhere, or does it get incorporated into our decisions? How does it work?
This is simply a call to action that came out of that Livable Cities Forum. And what we will do, assuming that the resolution is passed to support that as a council, is that information will go back to the Livable Cities Forum,
Okay.
and we will be registered as a council in British Columbia, and there's Canadian councils across Canada that supports the call to action.
Okay.
So there's no monetary commitment, but I feel fairly comfortable in stating that this council and certainly staff have been quite progressive in our look at managing the climate change, putting things into place. Any other, Councillor Carlson?
It's a bit further on that. I think it's a very good idea, and I think we should be supporting it. I just have a question about there's a lot of really important big words in here that not necessarily can just be done. And, people may not know how do you look at a lens of decolonization, health and well-being, equity and inclusion, racial and social justice, and ecological integrity when you make a single decision. And it's not just at the council table, because there's also, a staff report. Now, are we expecting that all of those things are going to be thought about prior by our staff, and have they been trained to do that? Do we have any, what's the realistic, I'd like to do it, but we have to do it properly. And so I'm just wondering how we do that.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think that it starts with council deciding whether or not to support this, and as council members, it's up to us to pass on that direction to staff and make sure, if we agree to this, make sure that we are following through with what we are supporting. So this is the first step. Well, I guess it's really the second step. And then beyond that, it will be making sure that staff reports and decisions or recommendations that come forward to us, we are taking into account when we're making our decisions, our commitment to support this. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's a very ambitious long-term. It's good. It's very good. It's a cultural
Change.
thought process, though, that needs to be included in that. So just as long as
Absolutely.
we all recognize that.
Yeah. We're going to be hearing a little bit more from our CAO later today about cultural change within our organization. So, Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd like to thank you, Madam Mayor, for bringing this forward. I think it's really important. I think there isn't a good understanding in the community of what resilience is and what it means, and this would help. This will help foster that understanding. When I see, some of the objections to our solar farm, for example, it's because there's still this mindset that we can. If it's not reducing our immediate greenhouse gas emissions, then it's not helping climate change. But as we know from our most recent presentation from our sustainability coordinator that it's too late to reverse climate change. It's already happening, and we have to deal with it, and the way to deal with it is to become more resilient. And so I think we need to really start hammering that message through, and this is a good way to do it.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Barkwell?
What does what is the lens of decolonization, and what does it mean to us?
Oh, I don't know if you want to, I don't know if I should get started on this. There's been a lot of discussion in the last, well, I guess 4 or 5 years. Probably beginning with, I mean, in levels of government, probably beginning with federal liberals bringing in the UNDRIP legislation, recognizing that there's, not the legislation, sorry, the rights of Indigenous people. And then more recently with the province bringing in the legislation. Something that was, as you know, all MLAs, regardless of their party, agreed to in the House. So it went forward unanimously. Decolonization refers to making sure that when you're making decisions, that you are not making them from the historical perspective of a settler's perspective or a colonial perspective. So the decisions that you're making take into account the impacts on the Indigenous peoples of Canada. Primarily that's what it's referring to. Probably Angelique could speak more about this, but that's my understanding of the term decolonization, is to make sure that the Indigenous or First Nations perspective is also considered in decisions that we're making around the council table. And a good example of our work towards that is our willingness to look at the legislation and Section 57 of the UNDRIP document and get started on the work that needs to happen here, the work that needs to happen in the community, and the work that we have started in reaching out to the Penticton Indian Band, which are our closest Indigenous neighbors. Does that answer your question?
Well, I got a gem or two out of it.
Okay. Any other questions? Somebody willing to bring that forward? Councillor Holmes, seconded by Councillor Carlson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Great. Thank you, Council. Okay. Item 6.3, request to serve alcohol at Powell Beach event. This goes back to our Manager of Recreation again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider the request from the Summerland Chamber of Commerce for approval to serve alcohol at Powell Beach during the Summerland Ogopogo Bathtub Race event on August 22nd. The Summerland Chamber of Commerce is partnering with the Summerland Yacht Club and the Rotary Club of Summerland to expand the bathtub race to create a full-day family festival to raise funds for further acquisition of medical equipment for the Penticton Regional Hospital, Critter Aid, and local Rotary projects. The race is now being sanctioned by the governing body of bathtub racing, which will attract participants regionally, provincially, and nationally to obtain World Championship points. The Chamber has submitted a special event permit request to serve alcohol in the hospitality zone, which is currently under review by the RCMP and requires permission from the Summerland Council prior to approval. The hospitality zone would be set up on the grass near the beach, providing a small service area with 6-foot fences and include all regulatory signage. The maximum number of guests in the service area would be 75, and service would be available between 11 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. The application notes that the maximum number of guests attending the event at Powell Beach is 400. The staff recommendation is that council provide approval for the Chamber to proceed with the permit application process to serve alcohol during this event at Powell Beach.
Any questions for Lori? Councillor Traynor.
I have a question. According to the map, it says the beverage service area is located just kind of in the parking lot area. So I'm wondering, first of all, is the parking lot open? I would assume it's closed for the event. And second of all, where they have it placed is very close to where the houses from Lighthouse Landing butt up against the parking lot. So that just might be something to consider as well. I mean, I don't think it's going to be rowdy or anything like that, but it is where its placement is really close to the homes there.
So I believe the hospitality zone is the square sort of above the service area, so it kind of would jut out towards the pathway there.
Yeah.
But they're, somewhat flexible as far as where they place it. I don't know if there's a better area. If you go farther to the right, you're getting into the conservation area, and so if there is a recommended shift in where they're proposing, I'd be happy to take that back to the event organizers.
I don't have a suggestion. I was just making note of that. That's all. That might cause an issue, but maybe it won't, and maybe that is the best place. It's hard to know because it's the first year they're doing it. So.
Other questions for Lori? Councillor Carlson.
I just wonder if the Chamber is the one that's applying. Has this become a Chamber event in the last couple of months? It's now a Chamber event, the bathtub race?
My understanding is that it is a partnership, so this is the first year that the Chamber is involved, and they're taking the bathtub race and expanding it to more of a festival. So this whole festival component is an initiative through the Chamber. However, the bathtub race itself will still be, all the logistics around that will be managed by the yacht club.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Could I have someone bring forward the recommendation, changing it if you see fit? Councillor Patton.
Madam Mayor, thank you. I'd like to move as written, if I may, please.
Of course. Seconded by Councillor Van Elfen. Any further comment? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? And none opposed. Thank you. Oh, technical issues over there. On to 6.4, British Columbia Active Transportation Infrastructure Grant Application. And this is for you, Director of Works and Utilities, Chris.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report is to bring forward some options for the upcoming Active Transportation BC grant that is now open and due on February 20th. Upon review of our cycling and trails master plans, as well as our upcoming capital works, staff is recommending 3 options be considered for this grant application. Giants Head Road upgrades, which would include the extension of the separated pathway as well as bike lanes on the south end of the project. Doherty and Bathville Road reconstruction, which would include incorporating 1.8 meter wide shoulder lanes onto this road improvement project, and the Victoria Road reconstruction from Turner Street north to Jones Flat Road, and including shoulder bike lanes on that stretch of road as well. The district is able to submit multiple applications if we choose. In doing so, we would need to rank the priority of our applications if we're submitting more than one. So upon that, staff is recommending that we apply for Giants Head Road upgrades as well as the Doherty Avenue in Bathville, but not proceed with Victoria Road application at this time. The reasons for that is that the timing of construction with that project is linked to the sanitary force main work that's going to be completed with Hunter's Hill. Currently, it's scheduled for the fall, but that timeline is completely dependent upon the developer. So there's some potential risk there with timing. And then the capital amount that's budgeted for that project would have to be increased to include the bike lanes, whereas the other two projects, current budget amount would be able to absorb the cost of those bike lanes if we move forward. So with that, staff's recommending the two applications, and the priority rank that I would recommend would be Giants Head first, and then Doherty and Bathville second. So looking for staff direction on those.
Okay. Councillor Carlson?
Just for clarification, when Mr. Seelman was speaking and he gave us this map, was he I assume he was speaking in favor of what's been proposed, however, he's also added a little bit more to it. Is that, I don't think he really stated what it was exactly he was speaking, I don't know.
Yeah, so what I took from that is that from the Trans-Canada Trail, there's cycling lane improvements that are noted to bring traffic from that trail to the downtown.
Yeah.
And at both Doherty Avenue and Bathville, as well as the Giants Head projects, are part of that link.
So it's a good thing based on our trails plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just wanted to confirm I'm not. Good.
Other questions? I have a couple of questions. Are your recommendation is not to include the three, and I understand why, in the single grant application, right?
Correct.
Right? And then prioritizing Giants Head Road over Doherty Avenue in Bathville?
Yes.
Okay. So I understand that. I think, speaking to what Councillor Carlson's question was a moment ago, it looks, if you compare the two maps, that Mr. Seelman was talking about extending the Bathville component to the railway tracks and extending the Giants Head portion down to the intersection with Prairie Valley. But those are the only differences that I see. Councillor Holmes?
I think Henry was just, he gave us, this is the whole vision, and the two projects fit into that vision, and that he just
Very
said
nice.
he was supported the staff recommendation, and so do I, and I would put the motion forward.
Good, thank you. Seconded?
Sorry, with the motion of which one being the priority?
Giants Head Road being the number one, and Bathville number two.
You are seconding that,
Yep.
Councillor Traynor?
Yep.
Any further discussion? Councillor Barkwell?
Yeah, I won't be supporting this motion because I don't want to support any motion that commits us for Giants Head Road redevelopment until we've exhausted our hopes for infrastructure grant funding for at least 50% of the project. So that's my reasons.
Okay. Further comment or discussion? All those in favor of the motion, it goes on for a fair bit, but I think we all know what we're talking about for the grant application. All those in favor? And opposed? Councillor Barkwell. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. As long as they don't come through here, I guess we're okay. Item 6.5 is a SILGA resolution being brought forward by Councillor Holmes. So I will invite you to speak to that, if please.
Okay, thank you. So just by way of background, how this kind of came to me. So the Syrian refugees that we brought in 2000, that settled here in 2015, they are members of both the families are getting their Canadian citizenship. So it's they're getting it next month, and that's a cause for celebration. So when I heard that they were receiving their citizenship, I contacted IRCC, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, about the possibility of holding the ceremonies here in Summerland, because a lot of people from Summerland will be wanting to attend those ceremonies. And that's when I found out, I was told at the time that they no longer do ceremonies outside Kelowna. And the last ceremony in Summerland was actually in 2010. I know that because my wife was part of the ceremony, as were other Summerlanders, including the Huber family, the Swiss Solar Tech people. And it was held at Center Stage Theatre. I've never seen Center Stage decorated like that before. They had flags from all the countries of all the people who were in the ceremony all around the theatre. It was quite an impressive sight. The RCMP were in the red serge, and the judge was there giving the oath. Mayor Perino was handing out the certificates, and and the theatre was packed. I've attended other citizenship ceremonies in small communities up and down the valley. They're usually held in elementary schools, and all the kids come out decked with Canadian flags. They decorate the gym, and it's always a real community event. Most small communities don't really have a multicultural event, and citizenship ceremonies have always kind of been that de facto multicultural event in their community. So I was told that, so previously IRCC had an office in Kelowna, and staff from that office would go out to the communities in the interior holding these ceremonies. But they've closed that office, and they do everything out of Vancouver now, and so they just come to Kelowna. The Vancouver staff flies into Kelowna to hold the ceremonies. And so that's a cost-cutting measure, which is fine, but you can still fly to other communities from Vancouver, so I don't quite understand why you have to fly to Kelowna every time to hold these ceremonies. You could fly to Penticton, you can fly to Cranbrook, you can fly anywhere, right? So I don't quite get the cost-cutting argument in that. You can still close the Kelowna office and go to other communities from Vancouver. So I just think it's something that's a real loss to small communities, and I think it's something that could be addressed at Silga because it affects the whole region.
Councillor Traynor.
You said you talked to them on the phone, representatives?
Email.
Did you ask them why they can't come to Penticton?
They just don't. They replied, they would be happy to partner with us if it was held in Kelowna.
So they didn't give you an answer then?
They didn't answer. It was cost cutting, but they couldn't explain how it was how that it saved the money by going to Kelowna. And I can tell you that, so next month, the ceremony will be held in the Ramada Hotel, which I can report back and tell you how that compares to, say, a school gym or something. But I suspect it might be a little sterile compared to some of the previous ceremonies I've been to. So.
Councillor Van Elfen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I understand what the government's trying to pull here, and it's, bring it from Summerland, Salmon Arm, Peachland, wherever, bring them all together in Kelowna and have the celebration. But I think it's a sad state of affairs, to be honest with you. These people have settled in our community. They're our residents. and they're proud to become Canadian citizens. They're going through all the efforts to become a Canadian citizen. And our residents should be able to have the opportunity to celebrate with them. And to haul them off to Kelowna for a cost-cutting measure is an insult, in my opinion. And it should be held here. And I appreciate Councillor Holmes' thought process behind this, and I will support it. And I'd like to see this go forward in Silga, because I think the government is making a huge mistake. You know, we talk about multiculturalism, we talk about immigration, and all these things. This is an opportunity in a small community to embrace these newcomers, these new Canadian citizens into our community. Not in Kelowna, because half the people of Summerland won't even be aware of it. You know, let's do it here, you know, where the people can feel like this is home. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Van Elfen. Do you have a date for the ceremony next month at the Ramada?
March 13th.
13th. Thank you. Councillor Traynor. The Councillor Barkwood? Thank you.
I was just wondering what the Vancouver office, what is their level of involvement in organizing this ceremony?
So they look for partners, and I know Soix used to partner with them to organize the ceremonies in the South Okanagan. They don't anymore. They've been contract wasn't renewed or whatever they. And they even asked, so they asked me as president of the refugee group if we wanted to partner with them, and I said, well, sure, if it's in Summerland, but they wanted me to partner and organize it in Kelowna. So eventually they're going to run out of partners in Kelowna anyway. I would think anyway, but so they partner with organizations to do the on the ground organization.
Just like to book a room or something and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was thinking about the cost of all those people driving to Kelowna instead of one person coming down to Summerland for whatever it is that they have to do here. You know, it does not necessarily a cost savings to society.
I imagine they fly to Kelowna, but from Vancouver, but there's nothing stopping them to flying to another community as well.
This ceremony, what range, like what area does it cover? The whole southern interior?
I imagine that they probably do one in Kamloops as well, but yeah, it'd be the whole southern interior.
Yeah.
Because the choice. Just speaking to one of the Syrian families, they said they were given a choice either in Kelowna in March or they could have gone to Vancouver last month and got it, but they decided to wait till March in Kelowna. So.
Not much of a choice.
Yeah.
Councillor Traynor.
I just have something to add quickly. It might be worthwhile to send a letter to them as well, welcoming them to come here and hold the ceremony. I don't know if that's something that you mentioned, but saying like we've done it before and it went really well and we'd love to do it again, and as like a positive letter as opposed to like why aren't you, like the Silga resolution is more like why are you doing this kind of thing. So a letter might be like a welcoming thing saying we'd love to host it, we've got a venue, we've done it before, consider us.
Yeah, from my perspective, I've already done that.
Oh, you have? Okay.
That's how I reached out to them in the first place. And I actually spoke to the mayor about it, saying because we would have wanted her on stage there to hand out the things. So
yeah.
So and then so that's when I reached out and
okay, so
with the explanation, and then
yeah.
That's what they came back with.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough.
Good question. Councillor Van Elfen.
Question through to Councillor Holmes. Do you need tickets to attend this event?
No.
No. And again, back to Councillor Barkwell's comments, like saving money. They're going to fly somebody here. You book a local judge and a local mayor, and you have the celebration. So I don't know, do they bring a whole entourage out of Vancouver to let the local community do all the work anyways? Like, yeah.
The ones I've been to, there's not really an entourage. You know, there's the judge, there's the Mountie, there's the mayor. That's kind of what it is, right? And then somebody from Vancouver or somebody from the government organizing it all. That's kind of what they are.
Councillor Barkwell and then Councillor Traynor.
Further to Councillor Traynor's comments, could we pass a resolution that directing staff to, or the mayor to write to the appropriate body and in behalf of council to urge them to have the ceremonies here in the future? After we deal with this, maybe I can make that resolution.
Sure, it wouldn't hurt. The reason I'm bringing it forward as a Silga thing is because I don't think it's not just Summerland
No, exactly.
that this is affecting. This is every community in the southern interior. So that's why I thought,
The country.
and presumably, I don't know how they're restructuring in the rest of the country, but I just know the southern interior, so it affects everybody in the southern interior. So like, you know, Penticton can't even have them anymore, you know, so it's, which seems crazy to me.
Councillor Van Alphen?
I'd like to put the resolution on the table, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Traynor. I just have one thought. Being on the Silga Resolution Committee, and I presume that you will speak to this at Silga. You know, assuming that it goes through committee, and I don't see why it wouldn't. It might be helpful to have, that's why I asked the question about the region that it covered in the Kelowna one. It might be helpful to have some indication from other municipalities how many newcomers are also going to be attending the Canadian citizenship ceremony, so that we have a better understanding of the broad reach throughout the Silga region. Just a thought.
Yeah, I can. So one thing that I thought was interesting is usually the previous ones there was just one ceremony and everybody
Yes.
was together, you know, one after another during the ceremony. So the two families from here who are getting their citizenship, they've been given different times, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So it suggests to me that this is going to be a huge ceremony, and they've broken it into two separate ceremonies, one for the morning, one in the afternoon. So,
And they're not even in the same ceremony.
yeah, I know.
There's actually three.
There's three. Oh, you've
The 12th, and then the 13th, there's three. If you search it, you'll find the handful of locations across the country where they now offer citizenship ceremonies.
Oh, cool.
Very limited. BC has five locations. There's two in the Maritimes. They're both in Nova Scotia. So seems like maybe
It would be interesting to know that.
interesting conversation to start.
Yeah.
Can you send me that link?
Great. Any other comments or further discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? And none opposed? Thank you very much. Councillor Barkwell?
Yes, I'd like to make a resolution that the mayor write on behalf of Summerland and Summerland Council a letter to the appropriate body to request that citizenship ceremonies be held locally, including Summerland, in the future.
Councillor Van Alphen, you're seconding? Okay. I'm happy to do that with assistance from Councillor Holmes and I guess either Karen and or our CAO. Any further discussion on this? Councillor Van Alphen.
I'm hoping that this measure will encourage other communities up and down the South Oak, throughout British Columbia, but in the South Okanagan to also write letters, stating the same fact, that they would like this back in their own communities.
Yeah. Another thing perhaps that Councillor Holmes could speak to at Silga.
Correct. Thank you.
Councillor Barkwell.
Yes, in addition to the sort of the opportunity to have a cultural event in our community. I wonder whether it's worth pointing out the additional expense and financial burden it requires for all of these families to travel to separate locations to have the ceremony versus one person or whoever coming to the community.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
guests.
The people and the guests, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, certainly we will, we can run the draft by council for further input before it's sent off. Councillor Carlson, did you have your hand up? No. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor? And none opposed? You have that? No. Great. Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Okay, on to item 6.6, 2020 bylaw priorities and public engagement, and this is a report from our Manager of Legislative Service, Nicole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I know I normally don't sit on this side of the table, so the purpose of bringing you this report is twofold. Firstly, it's to present a list of bylaws that have been identified as needing review, revision, replacement, or simply to be created. If we look at the list of bylaws up on the screen, which is also in your agenda package, this list was created in collaboration with all internal departments. And what we did is we collected a need or desire or legislative reason for bringing these forward from each department. We made a list and then categorized them into low, medium, or high priority, dependent on council direction, legislative requirements, lead department, and departmental work plans. The bylaws proposed for this year have been identified as high priority for those various reasons and have been listed by the quarter, Q1, 2, 3, or 4 of 2020, in which we anticipate the bylaws to be brought forward for council's consideration and ultimately adoption. Corporate Services is seeking council's endorsement of the list of bylaws as attached. And the second purpose of bringing this report forward is to seek council's endorsement of the commencement of public engagement for the new proposed Good Neighbor bylaw. And noting that the name Good Neighbor bylaw is up for determination yet. It's just a name that many other municipalities use, but is certainly not the only name available. So as we go along, we'll sort of work that out as we go. This bylaw is intended to consolidate a number of existing bylaws relating to property maintenance, weed control, construction noise and dust, noise, derelict vehicles, parking and storage of vehicles, boats, and nuisances. Staff plan to engage the public at the upcoming budget open house meeting this Wednesday. We do plan on engaging the public in other ways as we go along. Some of the engagement strategies we will use will be guided by the input that we receive on Wednesday and may evolve, but could include advertising in the newspaper, the newsletter, and of course continued communication with some of our key stakeholders. We have heard through district staff, bylaw complaints, neighbor groups, and the Summerland Shine group that came to council. They have all highlighted and identified that there is a need to create a bylaw to replace a number of our current bylaws that do regulate noise, property maintenance, unsightly premises, vehicle parking, that are old, outdated, inadequate, lack clarity, or a clear enforcement strategy for those bylaws. And so this bylaw is intended to consolidate that and clarify and provide clear expectations for residents and staff alike. So, thus staff are asking council to pass the following resolution, that the report 2020 bylaw priorities and public engagement by the Manager of Legislative Services dated February 10th, 2020 be received for information, and that staff be directed to commence public engagement on a proposed new good neighbor bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Nicole? Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if they're for Nicole, but they're
Okay.
for somebody
For
on staff. DCCs come under the building bylaw, or where do they come under?
Through the Chair, Your Worship, they are a separate bylaw.
Okay, so that's not on the list anyway?
So we're, through the Finance Department's work plan this year, we're going to be taking an initial look at the DCC bylaw. The actual amendments we'll have to bring forward through various committees, the Planning Committee, the Development Committee as well. But that'll be forming part of the Finance Department's work plan for this year.
Okay. And then another question about the business license bylaw. So I see it's a high priority, although it's not slated till next year. And after some that are medium priorities. With the recent announcement for ride hailing that's coming to the Okanagan, do you see something like that might have to be bumped up further if we need to deal with things that are beyond our control? That, you know, when I think back at cannabis, you know, we had to drop everything to deal with cannabis. So it could be something like that could come along where we might have to deal with it, whether it's in our priorities or not.
Yeah, through the Chair, Your Worship. Nicole, you can answer if I don't correctly, but those specific amendments can certainly be brought forward in lieu of or before the larger bylaw gets looked at. And something like the ride sharing would be a specific amendment to the bylaw. We may have to amend a couple of different sections in there, as opposed to re-looking at the whole bylaw. And maybe Nicole can speak to the entire bylaw in itself and what that process may look like.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The business licensing bylaw requires a review of all of the different business categories and the licensing fee that we charge. As well, there is some, there's a little bit of a lack of clarity on some of the wording with the due date. We apply a late fee 30 days past due, and I think that we'd like to provide some clarity to that. Ride hailing will also become a category within that. And then right now, because ride hailing is legal and Kelowna has just gotten its first approved application, what we're actually we're looking to the other communities. We have an inter-community business licensing bylaw that all municipalities have their own version, but all of the wording is very similar. So we're looking to see what the wording as a collective, there used to be a group, a subcommittee on that, and so we're waiting for some wording around ride hailing to come out, because as we know, ride hailing is going to affect multiple jurisdictions. So we're waiting on that, and then once we have the intercommunity wording and bringing that bylaw forward, then we would be able to incorporate it into our business licensing bylaw. Hopefully that answers that.
And just one more also, then where would seasonal vacational rentals fit in? Would that come to business license bylaw as well?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At this time, seasonal vacation rentals is not a permitted use in the District of Summerland. We have provisions for B&Bs, bread and breakfasts, but we don't for other short-term rentals. So for it to be incorporated into the business license bylaw, we would be looking to make amendments to, I believe, our zoning bylaw first.
Okay. Thanks.
I have one question following up on what your response to Councillor Holmes was for the ride hailing. Because ride-hailing will cross many jurisdictions, as you stated. Will the portion of the bylaw that talks about ride-hailing, will it include a separate business license that covers multiple jurisdictions? Like right now, if you do business outside of Summerland, you pay Summerland's business license, and then you pay another one for, inter-jurisdiction. Will that be different for the ride-hailing?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, the premise will work the same. So the way that an intercommunity business license works is that you obtain a business license primarily in the municipality where your business is based.
Right.
And then if you plan on working throughout the Okanagan, you have the availability to get a mobile business license, which allows you to work in other areas in the Okanagan. And so it would work the same way for ride-hailing. If the business was based in Summerland, or the drivers were based in Summerland, then they would require a Summerland business license first, and then a mobile business license. It looks like, at this point, most businesses will be based out of the bigger centers, Kelowna, Penticton, or Vernon.
Okay.
And right now, Kelowna.
Good, thank you. Councillor Traynor.
Just a quick question. How do you enforce, like, say somebody has a business in Summerland and they pay a business license here, but they do work sometimes in Kelowna or Penticton. How is that enforced? Like, is there an ability to regulate that, or?
Thank you. I'm not sure I totally understand the question. I think that you're asking about how do we regulate, if they have a business license in Summerland, how do we regulate their business license in other communities?
Yes. So if they had the valley-wide one,
Yeah.
how would that valley-wide one be enforced?
Yeah, and that's the intercommunity business license. That's the one that is the same for every municipality, and that's brought forward to each municipality for adoption, and then that determines whether you're in the program or not, included in that business licensing. So then if somebody is licensed in Kelowna and works in Summerland, then we would have enforcement ability through that intercommunity business licensing bylaw.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's really, the onus is on the business to get the appropriate licensing. Any other questions? Okay. Will someone bring that resolution forward then? Councillor Barkwell? Seconder, Councillor Patton? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Aaron, you raised your hand?
No,
You voted in favor?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. I didn't see your hand.
Oh.
Okay, just wait for me. So item 6.7, 2020 organizational culture and direction, and this is over to our CAO.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. So I just want to provide council and the community with an update on some of the work we've been doing over the last few months through the senior management team, the exempt staff, and through the entire organisation. So as council has provided us some direction through the strategic priority process in early 2019, good governance was certainly one of the main leadership priorities for the organisation management team to look at as we bring on some positive change into the community and throughout the organisation. There's been a fair bit of leadership change through the organisation over the last year or so, not only at the senior level but throughout the organisation, which has brought a lot of positive attitudes, a lot of positive information and knowledge to the organisation as well. The first part of my role when I first started with the organization was trying to get a good understanding from the various teams and the staff within the organization around where their priorities were, where some of the issues laid, and where the future vision was for their roles within the organization. We'll go through that in a little bit of detail shortly, but we've had a lot of discussion with our staff, the management team, and at the senior management level to provide direction for the organization moving forward. 3 key areas of focus were identified early on for me when I began with the organization, and then filtered down through the organization around communication, internally, externally, engagement with our community, and customer service, which is a key priority, which filters through the organization in a variety of different ways. Some of the key questions that I began asking the organization when I first started around some of the strengths. What do we do really well from a communications perspective? Where are some of the gaps from a communications perspective that exist? And where are some of the solutions that we should be looking at to build our organization moving forward? From a community engagement perspective, how do we currently engage with the community? We heard that we engage in a variety of different ways. What sort of principles should we apply when engaging with the community on project and priorities? And these are key questions as an organization that we need to look at, especially as we go into some larger priority projects over the next few years. From a customer service perspective, this is certainly a key one for all municipalities, but Summerland in particular, as we look at improving processes, building relationships with our residents and business community, looking at our customer service delivery methods, and finding out what type of, from an organization perspective, what type of atmosphere our customers expect and our employees expect when they're dealing with our customers. So these are some of the key questions that have helped driven some of the direction and priorities for moving our culture in a positive direction. From a communications perspective, organizational awareness was a key one, making sure that each of our departments and those in the community are aware of the organization and the direction that we're helping to move forward with. Open and honest communication is a key one that we heard from our organization, from the staff on the ground, out in the field. We've heard that from our customers, and they expect those attributes from our organization moving forward. The need to consider all audiences in all of our communications was something that our staff made loud and clear as we start to build communication plans and priorities moving forward. Factual, relevant, and accurate communications are key to gaining trust in the community through the engagement strategies and communications that we put out as an organization, but also within the organization as well. Linking communications to our strategic plan, making the community aware that the organization does have a communications or a strategic plan was a key priority that we heard from our staff as well. So making sure that at my level and at senior management level, the staff are aware of the direction that we're getting from council, they get buy-in, and we eventually communicate that through the various projects and policies that we bring forward, whether it's through budget or out in the community, engaging with them in a variety of different ways. On the communications side of things, responsive and proactive. These are 2 things I've heard loud and clear, not only within our organization, from out in the community as well. So as we move forward, developing communication policies and priorities, making sure that we're responsive, proactive to the needs of our community are going to set the scene for a successful future. Within the organization, it was really interesting to hear from the staff within all departments around some of the strengths that we have within the departments and some of the gaps that we have. We're a big organization, we're about 110 employees. We're not going to get everything right all the time. There's going to be some gaps that we need to identify and fill and fix and change, and they've certainly been identified for us to profile and fix as we move forward. Key parts of those are process improvement and making sure that we're here to respond to the expectations of the community. So communication is a key tool for us as we move forward. Making sure that that's entrenched into all of the departments will be a critical component for each of the management team as we move forward with work plans and performance management into the future. Community engagement, as I said earlier, we've got a variety of different exciting and innovative projects coming forward over the next couple of years. Community engagement is going to be the key to the success in each of those. As we look to develop a long-term community engagement strategy for the organization. We're going to be working with the community on that over the next couple of years. But in light of that, in lieu of that happening, it was important for the organization to identify some of the key engagement principles that we need to put in place as we begin some of those key processes over the next year or so. Clarity, community involvement, understanding the needs and concerns of the community, recognizing the engagement process or resourcing the engagement process is certainly critical to our engagement strategy within various projects into the next few years. There's a range of engagement strategies as well. The old open houses are one tool, but we've got to get out there and sort of drag people into these engagement activities as we bring council some valuable feedback so you can make good decisions. So the engagement component there is certainly key. Reflecting the diverse needs of our community as well. We've got a range of residents, a range of resident types in our community, business community, industrial community, that we need to make sure are reflected in our engagement processes. Dialogue with the community means that there's a lot of back and forth in the engagement process. It's not just hearing from the community and going and making plans. It's making sure the community are aware of what we've heard and what we're actually going to be doing about it. So these are some of the principles that have been identified by staff and going to be driving some of our engagement activities over the next couple of years as we build towards creating a longer-term engagement strategy with council and the community into the future. From a customer service side of things, this is a key component for me and for the organisation as we move all of these priorities forward. And these priorities and principles will filter down through the entire organisation. We're here to deliver outstanding service. We expect that of our staff. We expect that our community expects that of our staff. And we're here to deliver those improvements through a variety of means over the next few years. Acting with integrity, treating customers fairly, recognizing problems and helping with solutions is a key thing for us as an organization as we move forward. Every problem won't have the same solution. There's going to be a variety of different solutions out there as we look at helping our community move forward in a variety of different ways. Flexibility, respectful, being fair, honest, and consistent, considerate and helpful and accountable. Always striving for continuous improvement. As I said, we're an organization, we're a $30 million organization. We're not going to be perfect every day. Maybe our finance director, but the rest of us we need to work through that. We cannot expect our staff to be perfect all the time, but we can expect them to be excellent at what they do, and that's a key customer service expectation that we'll have for the organization moving forward. So the district's commitment, and this is a commitment the senior management team has made to the rest of the organisation and to council moving forward. We'll be certainly looking to keep staff and all the employees at this district up to date on the direction that council provide, which is very important to get buy-in at the staff level, whether it's out in the field or writing a future council report. Holding biannual all-district staff meetings. The benefit of working in a smaller municipality is that we can get all 100 or so employees together at once and a number of times throughout the year to deliver the message or a variety of different messages so that everyone's aware of what that direction and where the direction has come from. Establishing quarterly management meetings, that's something we're already in the process of putting together so that we can build a really strong management team, a group of 20-25 management team members that are here to provide leadership and direction to the rest of the organisation. Communication amongst that group is key. And then the key one, providing council updates on what's happening from a work plan perspective. We're going through a process right now to build our work plans for this year based on the budgets that has been brought forward, and we'll be providing council with those quarterly updates so that the community and council are aware of where things are at, what changes happen through the year, and how successful we are or are not in bringing our projects to council that council give us direction for to fruition. So in closing, you'll see some images and some illustrations throughout the organisation over the next little while that'll provide some direction to council, or to staff, and the community, and really make the community aware of some of the commitments that we're looking at bringing forward as an organisation. From a partnership from staff and council perspective, very important to make sure that we're all working together. The feeling I've got over the last 6 months has been pretty incredible that We do have staff and council willing to move forward. We've got some issues that we need to sort out, but we're certainly committed to working with council, and this is the direction coming down from the top all the way through the organisation, that we're here to work together and start to build continue to build a successful community. From an internal operational perspective, these are key accountability principles that will be driving our work plans and be driving our performance management systems over the coming years. So you'll see this image throughout the organisation, as I said, over the next little while. Really pleased that it's been built through discussions with the organisation. We've got lots of work to do, but the opportunity to use this as a launching pad to drive our community forward and our organisation forward is a pretty exciting place to be right now. So really looking forward to having this endorsed by council. Any questions, comments? Looking forward to seeing if I can answer those. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for this. I was just wondering, in respect to community engagement, is there, are there best practices out there that you can draw from specifically to be able to reach the people in the community who you don't normally reach, the ones that aren't, who don't come to the meetings and who don't come to the open houses and that sort of thing. And I guess what is our philosophy for, I guess, connecting with those people? Is it do we want to make that extra effort to reach people who aren't who aren't interested in engaging? Or do we take the philosophy that, well, they're not interested, so there's no point, banging our head against the wall?
Yeah, through the chair, I think we can't sit and wait for people to come and get engaged in. There's so much going on in people's lives that, as a municipal employee leading a project or a priority, whatever that is, it's our role to go out there and make sure that people that are impacted by the project or priority or new bylaw or whatever the issue is are aware of what's going on. So we've got to get out there. We can't just sit back and wait for people to turn up. So some of the key components of what a strategy may look like for a new bylaw, we've got to determine who the impacted stakeholders are. We've got to go out there and build relationships with them. But each of those will be decided through a project-by-project basis. But I guess to answer your question, we've got to look at innovative ways. We will mandate that through the processes that we build, because ultimately council need to be informed when they're making decisions from a wider variety of community membership as possible, so that you're informed when you're making those decisions.
Could I just add something to that? I'm wondering if it might be useful to reach out to SFU's Center for Dialogue, because I remember attending, I think it was the first UBCM. They had a really good session on community engagement, moving from what's typically done to actual empowerment. That might be an opportunity to get some information or input on how we could move forward.
Instagram.
Yeah, social media is just ramping up, or has ramped up the last few years, so taking advantage of those tools. So there's a variety of tools out there and different organizations that have best practices that we can certainly learn from.
Councillor Patton and then Councillor Barkle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'm just throwing this out there, but one of the things that I've noticed in the morning when I'm getting ready for work is the DJ on 98.5 comes on and talks a lot about somebody from recreation that's going to be in there talking to him about programs and whatnot that's happening in Summerland. And it comes on, I don't know, it's probably around 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and probably more than just that time, and I think whoever it is comes on about 8 o'clock in the morning. I have no idea what time. I'm at work. But I guess what I'm getting at is like for our open houses, we talk about social media, and I'm sure there's a lot in our community that don't have access to social. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I'm sorry? I listen to the radio.
But there's people that don't listen to the radio and they only go on social media. Like, when's the last time I went on 98.5?
You're not old like me.
Right?
Okay, but what I'm saying is to get the message out, you know, and it's way too late for our open house. But, you know, it might be a medium that we need to look at to get the message out, even though the younger generation don't listen to the radio anymore. But we will be hitting a segment of our population in Summerland that might be interested in hearing it.
Yeah, just to, respond to that. Yeah, so through each project, I think the opportunity through communicating through the radio is a huge opportunity and a huge catchment for us. Coincidentally, 8:20 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be speaking with the 800 FM. Forget the gentleman's name, but Colin G. Around our budget process. So getting that out at 8:20 a.m. tomorrow will be on LNG.
He still
So
runs the radio?
there's community spots on there. The recreation department have opportunities. There's lots of opportunities through that type of media to get the message out. But the audience is certainly there.
Yeah, I spoke to him a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Councillor Barkwell.
I think Chris Wallace has the mayor on speed dial, but...
Chris Walker?
Mayor Walker, yeah.
Well.
A while ago in Penticton, they had a major extensive consultation. Maybe you were involved. They rented the building at the corner of Westminster and Winnipeg and had people staffing it. And I dropped in and got signed up because I thought, oh, well, let's see what Penticton's doing and how they're doing it. And I'm on their email list now. And so I'm constantly getting emails about issues in Penticton and stuff. I'm thinking, gee, you know, that sure is an easy way to reach a lot of people. If we collect email addresses at every one of our open houses, and somebody had to built up a Summerland email list, just ask them, do you want, and you know, at least they know when they get these emails that when they're not being ignored, that there's an opportunity if it's a particular thing that interests them. And so I'd like to kind of see us build that. Since nobody listens to the radio anymore.
Do people read their emails, Richard? I don't know.
Well, you know, I see it. It comes. I don't necessarily choose to read it, but I know I'm being engaged.
I think we're talking about generations.
It might be a topic that I am interested in, or it might not be. But you know, I think you're kind of expected to do that now.
Kind of like what Tammy has done with the climate action emails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for the whole community.
Yeah, that tool,
OCP?
shapeyourcity.penticton.ca is the website, and that started with the parks and recreation issues that built into all the various engagement items. So whoever signed up for a parks-related item is there on the mailing list for parking issues, for OCP, for everything that the engagement strategy deals with in Penticton. So that I think there was 5,000 or 6,000 people that eventually get on those email blasts that can contribute to those issues.
Yeah.
So there's lots of tools available.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that that's the direction we go in. By Parks and Recreation, you mean water slide?
Yeah.
That was a start.
Yeah. Other questions? All right. I believe there is a resolution there, yes, that we support this. Would someone like to bring that forward? Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Holmes. Further discussion? All in favor? Great. I don't see anyone in the gallery or including media, so John got his picture and away he went.
Monday deadlines, he probably hates them.
So I will ask someone to bring forward the resolution to close the meeting to the public. Councillor Holmes and Van Elfen. All in favor? And I would like to call a short recess before we go into close, and I'll give time for people to leave.